Our third factoring method is polynomials in quadratic form. Polynomials in quadratic form look like a quadratic based on number of terms. So if we look at the example that's given here, we are asked to factor x to the fourth minus 2x squared minus 3, which looks familiar, similar to a quadratic, that it has three terms, a trinomial, and we're used to factoring something like this into two binomials. However, that x to the fourth at the beginning should be an x squared. The x squared in the middle should be an x. With a simple substitution, we are going to transform this into a quadratic. We're going to let y equals x squared. And therefore, if we square both sides of this, y squared is equal to x to the fourth. Substituting y squared for x to the fourth in this, we get y squared at the beginning. If we substitute y for x squared, we get y in the middle. In this form, this appears to be a quadratic, which we know how to factor, and let us do that. Y is at the beginning, 1 and 3 at the end. Since it's a negative 3, one must be positive, while the other one's negative. It needs to be a negative 3 and a positive 1. At this stage of the game, we have y's in the equation. Our original equation, original polynomial, was in terms of x. We need to substitute and have x's back in here. So we simply substitute back in. Y is equal to x squared. We now look at these two sets of parentheses and try to determine, can we factor them further? As we have seen in other examples, you'll see it on the worksheet, and so on. Sometimes these are difference of squares. In this case, these are not. We have a sum of squares in the first parenthesis. We have what appears to be a difference of squares in the second parenthesis, but the 3 is not a perfect square. So we cannot factor any further. This is our final answer. There are other problems that are similar to this, and I will just write these down here on the bottom of the page so that you can see other problems that are of quadratic form. This would be of quadratic form, and our substitution would be y equals x cubed. This is also of quadratic form, and our substitution would be y equals x squared. Thank you, and please work on the worksheet for this section.